The thing that got me into teaching was that the that I was a veteran and went. I had the interview at SC that they would help you on picking a veterans. They were helping them pick life professions or jobs, and they were the ones that had suggested I get them to industrial arts.
I was walking along the sidewalk at USC about 6 weeks before graduation, and a person walked by in the other direction, and I can't even remember his name, and he happened to say, "Hey, what are you going to do after graduation?" And I said, "I have no idea whatsoever." And he said, "Well, they're hiring some people down the street there to be student teachers in a special program, and you get $60 a month if you sign up." And of course, that was big money in those days. I signed up, and the rest is history.
Dentists to specialize in orthodontics, so we could both open an office together, but it didn't work out. I didn't make it, so I got out at bacteriology major, then be a lab tech, and I didn't want to do lab tech work. So I went into teaching, and that's how I got into teaching.
So I was an accounting major, actually, and that's my degree is in accounting. But in my last year of college, I decided that I didn't want to sit behind a desk. I didn't want to push pencils and crunch numbers. And I went to see a counselor at Cal State LA, and we talked about the subjects I had taken and decided that I could be a business education teacher.
I was majored in drama at City College. I discovered that I couldn't act, so I said, but I could direct. So I said, well, I know what I'll do. I'll major in English, specialize in drama, and teach drama in a high school. And so that's how I became a high school teacher.
Belmont was a different experience for me as a teacher than as a student, because I went to Hollywood Professional School, which no longer exists. You can't find it, it's gone. But that was a school for people that were in the show business. But then when I went to college and got my teaching degree, I did some student teaching at Belmont, and I loved it so much because of all the variety of backgrounds on the people and their what they brought to the classroom, that I asked Mrs. Lord to hire me. I said, I want to work here, and she
So when I arrived at Belmont, I had a master's degree in history from Columbia University, and I had been awarded a fellowship at UCLA to teach in an inner city school, in exchange for which I didn't have to go through all those miserable education courses. But the upshot of what that meant in practice was my first day teaching was my first day in a school since I had left school.
Well, we met, actually we were in college together, but we didn't really talk to each other. But we were brand new teachers at Belmont, and so we kind of helped each other out. And what helped us become good friends is that Esther didn't drive, so I drove her as she's sponsor. She was the maiden sponsor, and I would drive her to different places for decoration, for dances that were coming up.
Visited Belmont, and I was really impressed. The students made a very good impression on me. And walking around the school, I decided that I said I was going to do the very best I could to impress the principal so that I could get the job.
All of the students, because they were honest, simple, hardworking, and they were very, very accommodating. The students, I felt, they made Belmont like a second home, and it was very family oriented.
Yeah. Incredible kids at Belmont, especially those early kids in the 1960s. You know, up to say 60 to 68, 69, 70. And you know, even after that, there's no kid like Belmont. That's the greatest kid on earth.
Interesting to walk down the halls and hear, you know, 2 feet away somebody's speaking Chinese, and 4 feet away somebody's speaking Spanish, and somebody else in Korean dialect, and that was an eye-opening experience for me.
But the thing about Belmont is the ability of the people to get along. I think it's probably a social education at its highest. People got along well together. And we used to get outside people coming in to look to see how people different background would get along.
Courteous, well-behaved. I'm not talking about corny. I'm not talking about, you know, overdoing it. It was just a way of life. It was just, as I say, it had to be a different era because the community was different. You know, we go down to, you know, Tommy's hamburger stand. They all knew we were teachers, and they would say, "Let them up here. They're in a hurry. They got to get back to school." So they'd let us cut in the line to get our hamburgers so we could go back to Belmont. Oh, it was
I've
wonderful.
always heard that the Belmont students were terrific, but I never really learned it or knew it when I subbed after I retired in 1993. I subbed it for 10 years.